Today we're going to be looking at Manic Panic in the color Tiger's Eye. And Manic Panic was nice enough to send this to me. I have my swatches labeled 1 through 12, but that is not synonymous with hair levels. I do different clips and videos near the end, so the numbers just help us keep track of each swatch color. They are human hair swatches, but the only one that is not virgin hair is going to be the number 4 black swatch. The rest have been chemically colored or bleached at some point in their existence. One is green. Now this color to me kind of leans on the more red side. Red and green are across from each other on the color wheel, so I wanted to see how well the red would cover the green. 2 is gray, 3 is a natural red, 4 again is black, so 4 to 11 is a range that goes to platinum blonde, and then 12 is like a toned version of number 11. So to start, I will take the dye and I'll put it directly on the top of each swatch. And then some people do like to dilute their dyes, so I will do a diluted version at the bottom of each swatch. Please keep in mind, everyone's hair is different, which means everyone's hair, of course, will take color differently. Plus, different monitors and screens and whatnot can make colors look a little bit different. So please just use my video as a reference for how this could possibly turn out for you.
Go across the country at school. I've been thinking about it early and I made up my mind. Is that cool? I wanna know it'll be hard to set minds far and always new. Yeah, I think it's what I wanna do. And baby, no, you can't see it's the best place for me, but I'm guessing that it's different when I'm looking from your point of view. From your point of view, oh. I said, baby, you've got things to do, and that's alright with me. But just know that when you come back home, in the same place I will be. Same place I will be.
For the diluted section, this did lighten up a little bit faster than I was expecting, so we are going to do a 1:2 ratio, so 1 part of dye to 2 parts diluter. If you're confused about what diluter is, the easy answer is that it's essentially something that lightens the color of your semi-permanent dye. Each brand usually has its own mixing medium that you can use to lighten the colors, but to keep things fair, I always just use a plain white conditioner for diluting.
Point is, girl, that I got you now. So if you let me keep loving you and show you how. If you just believe me now.
So to make sure that my swatches really absorb the color, I'm going to let them sit for 3 hours. I will then rinse them out, and when they're dry, I'll meet you back here and we'll do some comparisons. I'm honestly so surprised there wasn't more hype around these, because I feel like I get tons of requests from people wanting to see more semi-permanent dyes that are in natural hair colors. So this is obviously a more coppery redhead color. And I think it's actually really great, because a lot of the coppery colors you see now lean very orange, and that's not a bad thing, but if you're looking for a more natural color, if it's too orange, then obviously it doesn't look as natural. So this is really exciting. One was the green beforehand. I do feel like it was fully covered on the top, but I don't know if it necessarily mixes that well with the green, because I still feel like I see some green coming through, but it's also kind of orange. So it's a really interesting color. And then the diluted section didn't really take too much of the hair dye. 2 was gray. So in my opinion, on the top half here, it actually does look pretty natural. It might even look a little bit more natural than the blonde swatches do. But I don't think I love how it looks over the diluted section. To me, it just looks a little bit, I'm not sure the right word, almost like hair after it's faded for a long time. I think if you're gonna dilute this, it's definitely better over the blonder swatches, because the warmth in the hair helps to bring out more warmth in the diluted section as well, which is something you definitely lose with the number 2 in comparison. Number 3 was the natural red, and it was a darker natural red. It's really hard to tell if there is a difference, which obviously this is a naturally red color, so I don't think there would be a big difference anyways, but I kind of feel like it did bring out some of the warmth in the hair. Maybe I'm crazy. We can see in the before and after clips, of course, but it does still look obviously natural, just maybe a little bit more punch of color. 4 was black, so there is no change. Now under this lighting, I don't really see a difference under like 5 and 6, even on the top half. But I feel like when I was in more like regular house lighting and not a ring light, I could actually see a lot more warmth coming into the hair. They both still had a brown look, just leaning on the redder side. But I will say this color, when I was diluting it, it diluted really fast, which means it's not a heavily pigmented color. So beware if you have anything lighter than a blonde, this may wash out faster than anticipated, especially if your hair is virgin. I can see a difference on number 7. Oddly enough, it kind of seems like it struggled to dye the number 8 a little bit because 7 and 9 look a little bit more saturated in comparison. This looks a little bit more muted. That could be either the person's hair doesn't take color as well, or it could just be the tone of hair underneath kind of being too similar to the dye. But regardless, they all look very natural. And of course, it depends on the goal of what you're doing. But I actually really love how it looks on the number 9. So in the like house lighting, to me, the 11 looked a little bit more orangey, and the slightly darker blonde swatches I feel like looked a little bit more natural in comparison. Obviously the dye itself is a natural looking color, so it's not a huge difference, but next to each other I really liked how it looked on 9 and 10. And then on number 12, honestly it was kind of strange because on the direct dye portion it kind of looked more unnatural and even more kind of reddish orangey than the rest of them did. So I would say you're safer keeping your hair with its natural tones versus toning it if you're going to use this dye. So as for comparisons, obviously not many brands make things like this, so I don't have a ton to compare this to, especially direct dyes that haven't been mixed together. So I'm gonna choose my most natural red direct dye that I have currently. I'm sure in the future I will have more to compare to, but as of right now I only have one, and then I have some mixes we can look at as well. But this dye is from Uberliss in the color Copper Fusion. This is comparable to number 12, number 11, and number 10. So my initial thought was to actually compare this to the ends of these. So I just flipped these over so you can see the diluted section compared to the direct dye section. Obviously, they're really still not that similar. I don't think Copper Fusion is meant to look 100% natural, obviously. I would say it's one of those colors that, like, if you work somewhere, for example, that doesn't allow fashion colored hair, this would be, the Copper Fusion would be a good, you know, alternative where it's not super in your face, but still a little bit natural, still kind of fun. But it definitely runs much more red, and on the direct application much darker as well. As for mixes, Arctic Fox has a mix called their ginger spice mix that I tried on my channel. I did 3 separate parts. I believe the lighter the swatch gets, the less Purple Rain is in it, but of course I will link the video down below. So this is comparable to number 12, number 11, and number 10. So basically this is a mix of their Sunset Orange, Cosmic Sunshine, and Purple Rain. Sunset Orange is a slightly more neon-y orange, so I think adding the Purple Rain helps to make it look a little bit more natural, but it also makes it look a little bit more red. As you can see on the top, and even this one's probably the least red out of all of the sections that I did. So again, decided to flip them over for you. I feel like this, in terms of undertone, is closer to maybe like in between these two, but Tiger's Eye is still just more natural looking. The ginger spice mix to me is kind of, again, in the same vein as the last dye, where it's like a fun version of a natural color, where you get more of a punch of color, but because it's in like a natural family, you can still wear it places that may not normally allow fun colored hair, you know? But I did this experiment on my channel where I was mixing colors across from each other on the color wheel with Arctic Fox, and I kind of came across a way to make a natural red that is a lot more natural, so I will show you my mix of that as well. So this is comparable to number 11, so I'm just going to move the number 9 here and put mine down. Now, my natural red looks a lot more like the darker natural red that we had here. It's also a lot darker on first application. So again, let me just flip it around. I do think if you did dilute my mix, it would eventually look something like this. Maybe kind of how it looks on the number 9. But in comparison, my mix looks a lot more brown. I think lighting also plays a huge role because like I was saying, in the ring light, I feel like you don't see as much of the red as you do in the house lighting. But regardless, I don't have a dupe for this, and I'm really excited that Manic Panic decided to do this because I think it's gonna help a lot of people out, and I'm excited to do their other natural colors now too. So of course I will have those videos linked below if you are curious about seeing those mixes as well. The ginger spice video is a little bit older though, I will warn you there. So now I'd like to get into the before and after clips. Those, as well as really anything you see after this point in the video, will all be done in natural lighting.
Talk about it now and just fool around. It's one of us thinking that the other one is feeling that we're both gonna cry. I know I'm tongue-tied, I've tried to take time to realize the other side isn't as scary as it seems. But the point is, girl, that I got you now. So if you let me keep loving you and show you how, if you just believe me now. miss your lips, I miss your hips, I miss your face. You, something else. I'm love so I know you know there's nobody else like you.
I hope this video helped. If you have a request, I do have a link below to a Google form you can fill out. Just remember, I only do brands that do not test on animals. Thank you so much to my patrons, and thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in my next video.
Makes me want to say